Hi, Stuart Bruce here, and I am the Spare Time Property Investor. In these podcasts, I'm going to share tips, tricks, and lessons that I've learned and will hopefully help you, especially if you're still working the 9 to 5. Hello, and welcome to the birthday episode of the Spare Time Property Investor podcast. That's right. The podcast is a year old this week, and it just seems crazy. So a year ago, I started the podcast and hoped that I'd keep it going. And now we're 55 episodes in. I've had 40 guests. Lara, my wife and business partner, has been on maybe 3 or 4 times. And the guests have ranged from people who are massively experienced to people who are quite new to it. And I've learned loads and loads from all of them. So if you're new to the podcast and you haven't heard some of these, I'm going to list some in the description, but go and have an explore, have a look. There's some really interesting people that I've interviewed. And if you're into a particular strategy, there'll definitely be somebody in there who does that strategy, whether it's serviced accommodation, HMOs, buy-to-lets, conversions, whatever. I've interviewed quite a few different people with different strategies. So there'll be somebody in there potentially with a similar sort of background to you that you can go and have a look and listen to how they've done it and hopefully take some inspiration from their story. There's also a series of episodes where I went into some detail about how to find your power team. I interviewed several people, an accountant, a solicitor, some architects and a mortgage broker, so you know what questions to ask when you're setting up your power team. And also there's been the solo episodes, which I hope you've enjoyed. There's been a real mixture of stuff, going from an episode about inflation, how we got our first deposit to start investing and how you can do the same, and an episode all about the top tools my guests use to help them invest in property around their day jobs. There's actually a link to it in my in our bio, so I'll make sure that the description shows you how to get that, because all the tools are listed so you can find them easily. How to speak to your boss about getting a 9-day fortnight, and loads of other stuff as well that will hopefully help you as a spare time property investor as you go forward. So yeah, 55 episodes in, and I'm so glad that I started. So the coronavirus is really the catalyst to all of this, because I'm a real big fan of podcasts, and I thought to myself, at some point I'll start one. But the coronavirus kind of scuppered some of our plans. We had to adjust things, and I thought to myself, why not bring the podcast kind of forward and just get on with it. I kind of made sure I had maybe 3 or 4 episodes in the bag, so I didn't just do one and then think, oh god, that was difficult, and then kind of not continue. So I helped myself by having maybe 4 recorded, I think. But now, yeah, we're at episode 55, which is fantastic. But it hasn't all been really dry property talk. There's been a lot of laughs. I've met some really interesting people who I still kind of contact quite regularly. And hopefully as things ease up, I'll actually be able to meet some of these people that I've spoken to. Seeing as it is a birthday show, I've got a vegan hazelnut and chocolate donut from Damn Good Donuts. Based in Northampton, really good. We have them now and again. So if you're not watching the video, sorry, but you can't see it. It's lovely. But yeah, happy birthday to me. One of the great things about the podcast, from my perspective as well, is that it's a really great way of networking. The whole traditional way of networking, where you go and stand in a hotel somewhere, shake somebody's hand, take a business card, and then never contact them again, doesn't really work for me. But this is fantastic, because I've met some great people who I've been in touch with since with questions, and they've come to me with questions. And it's almost like a little community within the property community, which is great. And you can also tap into that. If you've ever got any questions about something, I might not have all the answers, but I'll probably know somebody who does know. So, reach out, and, it will help you potentially. But I'm a real big believer in reciprocity. So I'm into helping people with knowledge. At some point in the future, some good things will come out of it for me. Ever since discovering the property community, I found it to be so welcoming, open. People are really free with their information, happy to help and share knowledge and experience. So hopefully this podcast and other people's podcasts help you tap into that. But for all of us, I think it's a really positive thing to be around, especially if our families and friends don't really get property. If you can, tap into these really positive people who are, pursuing something that is to better their future, it helps to keep you going, I think, because sometimes it seems a little bit endless. Especially when you've got projects going through, or they get halfway through and they fall off, for instance. If you can listen to other people's experiences and hear that actually it happens to everybody, it makes you feel a little bit better about the process and hopefully keeps you going, because if you keep on going long enough, you're going to have that success. Which is one of the real big hopes I have from this podcast, is to help other people progress, and hopefully other people get to know us and trust us and feel that they could work with us in the future. And with that in mind, we're working with more and more people to source and renovate properties, especially into HMOs. And we're working with other people who are benefiting from lending money to us. So if you're interested in some of the services that we provide, just contact us and I'll make sure you're aware of any projects as they come up that you might be interested in. In this last year, we've also started our newsletter, which is all about property investment, legislation updates, tips about how to make sure your rooms stand out, some interior design tips from Lara, and more general updates that you may or may not be aware of. And as I say, it's free, so why not check it out? There's a few issues now, so go to our bio to have a look. And now we've got the first year out of the way, I can't wait to see how this progresses over the years. And I can't wait to interview some people face to face in the real world. It will feel like a real treat getting in a room with somebody or in a garden or something like that, and actually, having a proper conversation with them rather than over Zoom, which glitches and pauses and things like that sometimes. So yeah, I can't wait for that. But if you've got any subjects you want me to cover or people you want me to interview, just let me know and I'll try and make that happen. But for now, go and have a listen back to some of the old episodes that you might not have listened to. At this point, you'd think I'd have a montage of some of my favourite clips, but I do this all on my own. I don't have anybody helping me with this, so I do the booking, obviously the recording, the editing, everything. So until I can justify paying out for a helper, those kind of montages and stuff will just have to wait. But I hope you join me over the next few weeks, months and years as this podcast progresses. And as ever, if you enjoy the podcast, please share it. Please like and subscribe to help other people discover it. I just wanted to do this little birthday episode to mark the occasion, but for now, that's it from me. Best of luck, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have, please leave me a 5-star review to help other people find it, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button.